Hello and welcome to this Big Orbit Cards unboxing video. I'm Chris and today we'll be unboxing an Eldritch Moon Booster Box. 36 boosters in a nice box with Liliana on the front and a moon. So let's just get straight in. Actually looks quite nice with the display, actually. Nice and purple, as you would expect for a set like this, with all the horror theme and everything. So let's put this to the back and let's just get cracking packs. Pretty excited about the set. There's some nice cards that I actually kind of want to pick up for myself, and especially things like spirits. I think are going to be a lot of fun to play. So just take the tokens out, and we're really just going to skip through the commons and uncommons, unless something really catches my eye. There are a few cards that I will pick up on. Gira Reach Sanitarium is a legendary land, so only one of in play. Add colorless to your mana pool, and you can pay 2 to tap it. Each player draws a card, then discards a card. Pretty useful, actually. Nice. So put the rares there, those there, and then we'll have a huge stack of commons and uncommons. There's a few new mechanics in the set. You got Meld, where 2 cards become 1 card. Which is going to be interesting when you sleeve your cards. We'll definitely pick up on some. We'll definitely pick up some meld cards through this. So when we actually reach them, I'll put them to one side so we can see both sides of the card at the same time. Deranged Whelp and Dark Salvation is our rare. So black add XX. So target player puts X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield, then up to 1 target creature gets -1/-1 until the end of turn for each zombie that the player controls. Actually, yeah, really nice card. It's going to be good removal if you're playing a zombie deck, because you're already going to have zombies out, and the fact that you can just put zombies into play with this, but you can still play it for just 1 black, and relying on the zombies you already have in play to give the -1/-1. So yeah, useful card. Should see some play in some zombie decks. So Livia's Dragoon, it's just more vampires basically. Like vampires should be pretty good in this set. Like there's a couple of extra cards, like the 2-drop vampires, that will make vampire decks more consistent. So I'm happy because I play a vampire deck. Mercurial Geist is another interesting card actually. 4 mana 1/3 with flying, but it gets +3/+0 every time you cast an instant or sorcery, so you could be swinging in for a lot in certain decks. And Stromkirk Condemned, speaking of vampires, this is probably the best vampire 2-drop at the moment. So 2 black for a 2/2, and the best thing is it's a constant discard outlet for madness. Only once a turn, but the fact that you can even do it once a turn without relying on other cards is great. So vampires you control get +1/+1 until the end of turn when you discard a card, and you will obviously be discarding into a madness cost of some sort. So yeah, really nice card. Well worth it getting your hands on a play set of 4 for a vampire deck. So there's quite a few of the werewolf horrors now as well. They're like low mana cost, and then they have like a big transform. So they're pretty interesting. So I pay 5 mana to transform into 4/4, which can't be blocked by more than one creature. So pretty nice. Abandoned Reason, Emrakul's Influence, Drownyard Behemoth, and Emrakul's Evangel. Pretty interesting card actually. So 3 mana, 3/2. Tap him, sacrifice him and any number of other non-Eldrazi creatures to put that number of 3/2 Eldrazi horror tokens into play. The Eldrazi horrors look a little bit like this. So if you're playing a green, probably white weenie deck or something, sacrifice all your 1/1s, make them into 3/2 horrors. It's great. So again, an interesting and probably useful card. I mean, who knows if it'll see play really. Kaladesh is coming on 30th of September 2016. Nice. So, as you can see, there's a lot of humans, Eldrazi werewolves, Eldrazi zombies and vampires in the whole horror theme again. Crop Sigil and Sanctifier of Souls is our rare. So 4 mana, 2/3 for human cleric. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Sanctifier of Souls gets +1/+1 until end of turn, and you can pay 2. Exile a creature from your graveyard to put a 1/1 white spirit token with flying onto the battlefield, meaning you can pay 3 and exile a creature to pump this guy. Pretty good overall. I mean, obviously it's costed slightly higher for the stats, but the effect, you could be swinging pretty big with that if you've got a lot of tokens coming into the battlefield, for instance. It's nice to see that there's quite a lot of cards in this set that complement Shadows. Liliana emblem. Just grab that back. So that's the emblem from Liliana. So at the beginning. So when you do her ultimate, it's the beginning of your end step. Put X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield, where X is 2 plus the number of zombies you control. So your horde will grow. I do love the artwork on a lot of these cards. Ooh, nice. We pulled Gisela, the Broken Blade. So our first mythic of the day is a good one. 4 mana, just drop her instead. 4 mana, 4/3, legendary angel horror with flying, first strike, and lifelink. So that is insane by itself, just for 4 mana for a 4/3 with all of those. And then if you also control Bruna, the Fading Light, you exile them and meld them into Brizella. So when you meet the condition, meld, you basically take both of them and flip them over, and they become a giant card combined. So Bruna will go here. Hopefully I'll pick up a Bruna now so I can show you both sides. And she becomes a 9/10, and I believe she has flying, first strike, lifelink, and I've forgotten the other one, vigilance, I think. Yeah, so really nice card. I mean, people are going to be playing this even by itself, but if you're playing 3 of this, you probably want to chuck in a Bruna, just for the off chance that, you know, that one game you'll be able to get Brizella and it will be amazing. So yeah, that can sit in the middle there, and the rest of the pack, because that wasn't even the rare slot, so, you know. Slayer's Cleaver, Markov, Crusader, Give No Ground, and Coax from the Blind Eternities. So 3 mana sorcery. You may choose an Eldrazi card you own from outside the game or in exile, reveal that card, and put it into your hand. Yeah, this one's either going to be really, really good or really, really terrible. you have to have the Eldrazi cards sideboarded. You can't just randomly pull them out of your bag. But it's 3 mana to put any cards you want that is an Eldrazi into your hand, basically. It's kind of funny. Yeah. People are gonna try and build decks around it. One of them will probably have some sort of success at least, so I think it'll see play. It's definitely an interesting card. And put the rest of the pack over here. So it's doing alright so far, actually. Like, getting into Gisela, it's great. Again, just quick flick through. Morn Willow, Rise from the Grave, Spreading Flames, and another mythic in Nahiri's Wrath. So 3 mana sorcery, as an additional cost, discard X cards, and Nahiri's Wrath deals damage equal to the total converted mana cost of the discarded cards to each of up to X target creatures and or planeswalkers. So yeah, this is probably going to see quite a bit of play, mostly because of the and or planeswalkers. And it will work in Madness decks as well, like in the late game, if they need to push 3 damage or something. You can discard the card, the converted mana cost is still the cost at the top. So yeah, pretty cool card actually. So that goes in our mythic pile, and we have a foil Drag Under as well. So return target creature to its owner's hand and draw a card. Not bad for a tempo play. Mausoleum Wanderer. Yeah, really nice card. So it's a 1 mana spirit, it's 1/1. Has flying, and when another spirit enters the battlefield under your control, Mausoleum Wanderer gets +1/+1 until end of turn. And you can sacrifice it to counter target instant or sorcery spell unless its controller pays X, where X is its power. So if you're playing Rattle Chains, you can flash in your other spirits, sacrifice this to counter the spell with a higher cost now, so because of flash. So very nice card. It's going to see play in spirit decks. It's going to be a good one. And Woodcutter's Grit is our foil. Target creature gets +3/+3 and gains hexproof until end of turn for 3 mana. Not too bad. Could be worse. God, it's like they're trying to advertise Kaladesh or something. Ooh, there's Graph Rats, so that's one of the... I'm going to put that to one side as well, just in case we get the other half of that, before we get the other half of Brizella. Eternal Scourge, or Scourge, I never know how to pronounce that word, even though I've played Warcraft since the beginning. Yes, never mind. So, 3 mana for a 3/3 Eldrazi Horror, and you can cast it from exile. Pretty nice. When Eternal Scourge becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, exile Eternal Scourge. So it's a 3 mana that can sort of come back, but can be stalled. It's a weird one, really. It's like, it's the kind of card that, again, is either going to be really, really good or really, really bad. So sometimes it will just run away with the game. The fact that you can actually keep casting it after they've removed it, then other times just not. And we have a foil Faith Unbroken. So an enchantment. This is actually a really nice enchantment, to be honest. So 4 mana, enchant creature you control. When it enters the battlefield, exile a target creature an opponent controls until it leaves the battlefield, and your enchanted creature gets +2/+2. So sort of temporarily 2 for 1-ing your opponent, in the sense that you're buffing your creature while removing one of theirs until this leaves the battlefield. But there isn't a huge amount of enchantment hate going around at the moment, so it might see play. And this chase in his eyes. Ironclad Slayer is an interesting card, actually. Being able to return or as an equipment from your graveyard is great. And Handweir Battlements, another meld card. Yeah, so this is a land, and it adds colourless to your pool. Or you can pay 1 red and tap it, and target creature gets haste. Or you can pay 3 and 2, 3 of any colour, 2 red, and tap it. And if you own and control Handweir Battlements and a creature named Handweir Garrison, exile them, then meld them. And it melds into Handweir the Writhing Township, which the artwork is just amazing for that, really. It looks like something almost out of Terry Pratchett or something like that. For some reason, I just thought of that. So again, I'm going to leave that to one side, because we may get the Garrison as well, which by itself is a pretty good card too. And Collective Effort is our rare, and this is a good rare to get. And commons and uncommon pile is getting a bit large, so we'll move that out of the way and start a new one. So 3 mana sorcery with Escalate. So Escalate is one of the new mechanics. So you, for each additional mode you want before the first mode, you have to pay the Escalate price, which is to tap an untapped creature you control in this case. So in white, most white decks at the moment are running a lot of token creatures, so you should easily be able to pay for this. So choose one or more, destroy target creature with power 4 or greater, destroy target enchantment, or put a 1/1 counter on each creature target player controls. So yes, the conditions in which this will be good are very, very specific, but even just paying it to put a 1/1 counter on all your creatures isn't too bad, really, for 3 mana. So plus I did mention a minute ago that there isn't much enchantment hate, but this is, so another useful one. Ooh, we got a Tameo emblem, actually. So her ultimate is you may cast non-land cards from your hand without paying their mana cost, which is just insane if you ever get to that stage of the game. Ride Down. I'd say reprint from Khans. So I really like this card for some reason. They've changed the artwork as well, so it's really cool with the Eldrazi now in the picture. So 1 red, 1 white, to destroy target blocking creature, and then you also deal the combat damage regardless of whether, like, the fact that your creature was blocked. So pretty nice. Insatiable Gorges, Nephalia Academy, and Thalia's Lancers. So pretty nice rare. 5 mana 4/4 with first strike, and you get to search for a legendary card, which is any legendary, not just creatures, so you can search for the Oaths. Yep. There, and that onto that pile. That was a weird token. Still just skipping through. Campaign of Vengeance. That's pretty nice. So an enchantment for 5. Whenever a creature you control attacks, defending player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. That's just funny. Spirit of the Hunt is our rare. So it has flash for 3 mana, 3/3. Wolf Spirit. When it enters the battlefield, each other creature you control that's a wolf or a werewolf gets +0/+3 until the end of turn. So great for just blocking. Your opponent may think that they can push through, but nope. Denied. Plains and a foiled Deranged Whelp, which the eyes glint so. That's disturbing almost. So 2 mana, 2/1 with Menace. Pretty good. Guys to the Archives. That was so good in pre-release. Just the fact, scrying, so useful. Blessed Alliance. So the other escalate card for white. So target player gains 4 life, untap up to 2 target creatures, or target opponent sacrifices an attacking creature. Pretty good actually. Impetuous Devils is our rare. So 4 mana, 6/1, trample and haste. When it attacks, up to 1 target creature defending player controls blocks it if able this combat. And then at the beginning of the end step, sacrifice him. So if he actually dealt the 6 damage, so it's either pay 4, deal 6 damage to face if they've got no creatures, or pay 4 to potentially have your creature destroyed before it even gets to attack or deal damage, or kill one of their creatures and deal a little bit of face damage. It's an interesting one. I keep saying that about all these cards, it's an interesting card, but that's because it is, there's so much weird tech in this set. And the game is all the more interesting for weird tech. And finding ways to use that weird tech against other people. Mind's Dilation. So, Mythic. 7 mana enchantment. Whenever an opponent casts his or her first spell each turn, that player exiles the top card of his or her library. If it's a non-land card, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. Yeah. If you get to that late stage in the game, it could potentially win you a game. I think in a lot of sort of blue-oriented decks at the moment, it seems that quite a few of them are sort of trying to rush people down, so you're not always going to get... Well, you're not planning on getting to turn 7. Or at least blue in this set. Blue traditionally is obviously more about control, but a weird one actually. Again, it could be really good, it could be just awful. I think time will tell. In Commander it could be fun. Just stealing their cards. You are relying on their deck being better than yours, though, with that. And the fact that it could have been countered. Curious Homunculus, I love this card. Such nice artwork on it. And just look at his little eye, which is actually a huge eye. So 2 mana, 1/1, and you can use him to ramp. So adding colourless to your mana pool, but only spend it on instants or sorceries. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 3 or more instant or sorcery cards in your graveyard, transform him. This is the kind of card that you build a deck around, so you will always have enough cards to flip him after a couple of turns. So he flips into Voracious Reader, who is a 3/4 with prowess, and instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. It's so good. I can just see crazy fun decks being built around this, and the other blue-red stuff, especially in this set, and in Shadows. Repel the Abominable, Murder, Weaver of Lightning, and Noosegraph Mob is her rare. which is a pretty interesting one. 6 mana, essentially get 5 zombies. So it's a 0/0 zombie creature, but it enters the battlefield with 5 +1/+1 counters on it. Whenever a player casts a spell, remove a 1/1 counter from it, and if you do, put a 2/2 black zombie creature onto the battlefield. So it's great if you can add extra counters on as well, because you can just keep the zombies coming. But yeah, you're essentially paying 6 mana for 5 zombies, unless this gets killed or exiled before you get a chance to use all of those counters. So, nice card. I think it'll see some play in zombie decks, of which there will be quite a few of after this set. I think some of the other cards that kind of synergize with zombies are great, like Cemetery Recruitment, for instance. Just returning cards from your graveyard, and if it's a zombie, draw a card, so 2 mana, just get a zombie back and draw a card. And Splendid Reclamation, 4 mana sorcery, return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. That is gonna see play, definitely, I think, in certain decks, especially. In Delirium decks, you kind of want the land in your graveyard, but not all of it. So, Delirium decks, certain ramp decks, they're gonna want to play it. So, another interesting one. So we have a double backed card at the back, I think, unless I'm seeing things. Midnight Scavengers, that's the other half of Graph Rats. We'll have a look at that after this pack. Incendiary Flows, nice card. Geist of the Archives again. Spreading Flames and Harmless Offering. I love this card. Just look at that cute little face with the tail. It's a mouth. So 3 mana sorcery. Target opponent gains control of target permanent you control. People are going to build decks around this just for a laugh, and it's going to be amazing. Just gifting your opponent something that can hopefully kill them. I've completely forgotten the name of the enchantment that is like choose one that hasn't already been chosen, and on the 4th one it's like you lose the game. So yeah, you use the first 3 and then gift it to your opponent, and then they lose the game. So an amusing win condition. Please feel free to shout at me in the comments for forgetting the name of that card. So this is Graph Rats and Midnight Scavengers, which meld together. So at the beginning of so you're paying 5 mana and 2 mana. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you both own and control Graph Rats and a creature named Midnight Scavengers, exile them, then meld them into Chittering Host. So you essentially go to combat and meld, and it melds into this giant card. So it's a 5/6 with haste and menace, and when it enters the battlefield, other creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain menace. So it's kind of like a bomb almost on your turn. You want to swing in for a bunch of damage, which your opponent can only block a little bit of it. It's great. I like it. And it's a common as well, so it's fun. Alright. I'm getting a little bit low on packs, so we'll just really try and rush through to the end. Token pile's getting a bit big. Ooh, Tree of Addition. 4 mana, 0/13 plant. Lots of 13s again, just like Triskaidekaphobia, with which this card works very well with. It's a defender, and you can tap it to exchange target opponent's life total with Tree of Addition's toughness. So the idea is the obvious idea is to have this out on the field, tap it, set your opponent's life to 13, play Triskaidekaphobia, they lose. Simple as. It's not always going to be that simple, but it is an amusing card to try and build a deck around. And you can also use it to just set their life low enough that you can just kill them. It would also work quite well with Tragic Slip. So you play it, then the next turn, purposely kill one of your creatures or one of their creatures, Tragic Slip this guy, tap him to change your opponent's life total to 1, and then swing in. It should be fun. Ooh, Spellqueller, love this card. So Spellqueller, we haven't seen Spellqueller yet, have we? I have a feeling we have, but I might be thinking of something else. No, we haven't seen Spellqueller, cool. I love this card because actually pretty much every single game I won at pre-release, which was like 6 or 7 games, was won by Spellqueller. So 3 mana, 2/3 with flash, which is the important thing, and flying. So when enter the battlefield, exile target spell with converted mana cost 4 or less. This is just such a huge tempo swing. Or just using it to, if you're on like game 2 and you know they have a threat that is like, you know, pumping something, you can save it for that. So really, really nice card. And it's a spirit as well, so it's going to work really well in the spirit tribal. Lone Rider, another interesting card, which won quite a few games at pre-release. I unfortunately didn't pull one, but I know a few people who did, and it was insane. So 2 mana, 1/1, first strike lifelink at the beginning of your end step. If you gain 3 or more life this turn, transform him into a 4/4 with first strike, trample, and lifelink. It's a good card, because especially if you're building a deck around, you know, the whole life gain thing, it's really, really easy to flip him into a 2 mana 4/4 with, you know, insane keywords. So it's really good. Permeating Mass is our rare. 1 mana, 1/3. Whenever it deals combat damage to a creature, that creature becomes a copy of Permeating Mass. This is going to be really, really funny. Just the interaction with this is great. So you play it, if you block something, it becomes a Permeating Mass. So your guy won't die, their guy won't die. Interestingly enough, if you pump this up to a 3/3 and block something, it will kill anything in the game. This is really funny, because, you know, that creature becomes a Permeating Mass, the combat damage carries over, and then that creature dies. It's just the theme of that, like the idea of this Eldrazi something just taking over everything. It's a very cool card. Very interesting as well, as I've said many, many times. So Get Angel, Rise from the Grave, Oath of Liliana, possibly the best of the Oath cards, the enchantments, I mean. So 3 mana legendary enchantment. When Oath of Liliana enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a creature. So the enter the battlefield effect is useful by itself, but the second effect is very, very useful. So at the beginning of each end step, if a planeswalker entered the battlefield under your control this turn, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield. It's just really, really nice ability. You're almost always going to get a 2/2, because if you're playing this, you're pretty much going to be playing planeswalkers. So, yeah, you're going to get a 2/2 and you make your opponent sacrifice a creature, all for 3 mana. So, excellent card. Flicky, flicky, flicky. Prying questions. Sigarda's Aid. yeah, another pretty cool card. So 1 mana enchantment, you may cast aura and equipment cards, equipment spells, sorry, as though they had flash, and whenever an equipment card enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach it to target creature you control. So you basically play equipment for its cost through flash, and you get a free equip, which is going to be amazing in certain decks. So I can see this card seeing some play. And then we have, a Grim Flayer in foil. Nice. Yeah. Awesome. That looks so pretty. So, 2 mana, 2/2 human warrior with trample. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put any number of them into your graveyard and the rest back on top of your library in any order. That is so good as an ability. And Delirium, it gets +2/+2 as long as there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard. So he activates Delirium by himself by dealing combat damage and then buffs himself when Delirium is active. This is, yeah, that's a good one. And it's foil, which is always nice. Foil mythics. Another Oath. So happy with that actually. That's 2 pretty good cards. And a foil Ingenious Scab. So finally got to the stage where we're getting doubles of rares. So it should become a lot quicker from here. Guess my shield. Oh, Hanway Garrison. Nearly flicked past that. So this is the other half of the Hanway battlements, and this side is actually really, really nice. So whenever Hanway Garrison attacks, put 2 1/1 red human creature tokens into the battlefield tapped and attacking. If they survive, you still get to keep them, which is the best thing. So I'll put it to one side for now, and we'll talk about it in a minute. The nice Elite, Long Road Home, and Stitcher's Graft. 1 mana artifact, equipped creature gets +3/+3. When it attacks, it doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. And when it becomes unattached from a permanent, sacrifice that permanent. And it costs 2 to equip. Interesting kind of one-shot item, I suppose. Like if you need the extra damage through, but probably not too great. Alright, let's have a look at the Hanway battlements and garrison. So these 2 cards, you pay 5, and then you can exile and meld them into Hanway the Writhing Township with the awesome artwork. So it's a legendary creature, Eldrazi Ooze, 7/4 with trample and haste, and whenever it attacks, put 2 3/2 colorless Eldrazi horror creature tokens onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. So you're swinging in for 13 each turn when it attacks, which is very, very nice. So yeah, really cool card, or set of cards I should say. Should work out well in decks that build around it. Ooh, and there's our Bruna. So Bruna the Fading Light, 7 mana, 5/7, and when you cast it, return an angel or human creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, and it has flying and vigilance. Just put it there for a sec, and I'll show you the other side. Collective Brutality is our rare. 2 mana sorcery with Escalate, which is discard a card, so good madness activator. Choose 1 or more, target opponent reveals his or her hand, you choose an instant or sorcery card from it, that player discards that card. Pretty good for just getting rid of that threat that you find, if you find one. Otherwise you just get to see their hand. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn, or target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So it's a good discard outlet, but the abilities aren't hugely powerful, but still useful. So let's have a look at Gisela and Bruna. So at the beginning of your end step, if you own and control both of them, you meld them. And it melds into Brizella, the Voice of Nightmare. So it's a legendary Eldrazi Angel with flying, first strike, vigilance, and lifelink. And it's a 9/10, and the best part is your opponents can't cast spells with converted mana cost 3 or less. Ouch. So if you've made it to the end game against an aggro deck, yeah, they're not going to make it past an extra couple of turns. I'm happy we got a Bruna though. Ooh, Heron's Grace Champion. So 4 mana, 3/3 with flash. And lifelink when he enters the battlefield, other humans you control get +1/+1, and lifelink until end of turn. Pretty good, just for all that life gain that you're going to get. Yeah, and flashing in to block and buff your other creatures that are blocking. Pretty nice as a combat trick. And not bad 4 mana, 3/3 body. You're paying more for the abilities, for the stats on that card. Assembled Alphas, yeah, 6 mana, 5/5. When it blocks or becomes blocked, deal 3 damage to the creature that blocked it, or the creature that you're blocking, and 3 damage to that creature's controller. So if you get to the game, again, fairly nice to get that extra bit of damage through. Wolf Infiltrator, this was one of the ones I played at pre-release as well. So 2 mana, 1/1 with Skulk, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card if you do discard a card. Good Madness Enabler, as well as just being able to cycle through cards that you don't need. But the best thing is, whenever you discard a card, a creature card, you can pay 2, and if you do, put a horror into the battlefield, which saved my ass on several occasions in pre-release. Down to the last couple, 6 I should say. Just really flipping through now. Elder Deep Fiend, an Eldrazi Octopus, 8 mana, 5/6 with Emerge. Emerge is pretty cool. So you sacrifice a creature, and if you do, it reduces the mana cost by the converted mana cost of the creature that you sacrificed. It also has Flash, which is really nice. So when you cast Elder Deep Fiend, tap up to 4 target permanents. That can just lock down games by itself and just win you the game. And foil swamp can go there. Those can go there, and I'm going to start a new pile. The thing is with this being a small set is that you see so many of the same commons. Eldritch Evolution. Yeah, I have a feeling we might have seen that already. I don't remember. Whatever. 3 mana sorcery. Sacrifice a creature. Yeah, we did see that, didn't we? You're essentially paying 1 extra mana to... Or did we not see it? We didn't see it. I'm going mad. Okay, so essentially you are just paying 1 mana to tutor your deck while sacrificing a creature. So 1 mana, sacrifice a creature to tutor for a specific creature and put it into the battlefield. So it might see play. Permeating Mass, yeah, we've seen that definitely. Foil Providence, nice. Providence is an interesting card. If you have it in your opening hand, you can just immediately set your life to 26, which makes it that little bit extra, like a little bit more difficult for your opponent to beat you down if they're an aggro deck. Or you can just play it for 7 mana and set your life to 26. You can't complain at that. It's going to see a little bit of play, I think. Like, it's not the sort of card that's like, oh yeah, I need that in my deck. But some people might put it in as like a 1 or 2 of. Collective Defiance, the red Escalate card that's rare. 3 mana and Escalate is pay 1 for each mode chosen beyond the first. So choose 1 or more, so target player discards all the cards in his or her hand, then draws that many cards. Or it deals 4 damage to target creature, or deals 3 damage to target opponent. So you could pay 5 mana and do all of that, and that would be really, really good actually. 5 mana to do all of those things in the same turn. This is probably going to see play in quite a few red decks. Even just for the first one of cycling cards to get you that extra bit of burn or something. Onward Observer. 6 mana Tree Folk, 6/6. Whenever a creature you control with toughness 4 or greater dies, draw a card, so it replaces itself when it dies. And there's probably quite a few things in any green deck that will cost, well, will have 4 or more toughness. So it could potentially draw you a lot of cards. Saying that, it is quite expensive though. Foldarin Pariah is one of the rares in the pack because this is in the flip slot. So 5 mana, Vampire Horror, 3/3 flyer, sacrifice 3 of the creatures and transform it, and you can also pay it for its madness cost of 3 black. When you transform it, it becomes the Abolisher of Bloodlines, an Eldrazi Vampire, which is a 6/5 flyer, and when it transforms, target opponent sacrifices 3 creatures. So the worst possible case scenario for you is that you sacrifice 3 creatures to flip it, and then before it flips, your opponent kills it, and then you've just sacrificed 3 creatures for nothing. Fun. Subjugator Angel, Haunted Dead, Stitcher's Graft, another one. Something very, very shiny at the back. I'm always scared that I'm flipping past rares or something. Another Stromkirk Occultist. I say another. I can't remember if we've actually seen one or not. But 3 mana, 3/2 with Trample. When it deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of your library. Until the end of the turn, you may play that card. Also, Madness for 2. So pretty solid card in the end. And the foil was just plains. So disappointing. And the last pack, let's see if we can get something spectacular in our last pack. So I'm not going to slow roll you, just going to still keep flipping through. Imprisoned in the Moon. So nothing spectacular really. But you know, it can take a Planeswalker out of the game. It does potentially give your opponent a land if you do that, but you know, not bad for 3 mana. People will make it work, I'm sure. So yeah, that was the whole box. Some pretty nice stuff actually. I'm glad we got the 2 halves of Gisela and Brizella. Well, Bruno, Gisela, Brizella. The foil Grim Flare is really nice. Troop Edition's alright, My Isolation's alright, and the Hero's Wrath's pretty cool. So that's the mythics, and the rares are pretty nice too. The set as a whole, I like it. Like the whole theme. people didn't like the idea of it. It's like, oh, Emrakul's back. Why is Emrakul back? You know. But I think they've done it quite well. With just like keeping the sort of horror theme, and the whole Eldrazi werewolf thing is just funny. But anyway, so remember you can buy and sell all of these cards that you've seen, plus the others from the set on our website, bigorbitcards.co.uk. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. We always like to hear feedback. And yeah, it's bye from me, Chris, and we'll see you next time for another unboxing video. Thanks for watching.